I'm Sarah, 34 years old, a high school teacher from Portland. And 3 weeks ago, I woke up in a hospital bed, unable to move or speak. But I could hear everything, every whisper, every lie, every betrayal. And what I heard my husband and his mistress planning while standing over my dying body would change everything. This is my story, and I need to tell it because what happened to me could happen to anyone. But before I dive into this nightmare, please hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. Drop your country and what time you're watching in the comments below because this story gets absolutely insane and I want to know where all of you are watching from. Trust me, you're going to want to stick around for this one. So, let me take you back to the beginning. My life before that hospital bed, before the accident, before I knew the truth about the man I'd been married to for 8 years, Marcus Chen. God, even saying his name now makes my stomach turn. But back then, I thought he hung the moon. We met in college. I was studying education. He was in business school. Marcus was charming, ambitious, driven. He had these big dreams of becoming a successful real estate developer, and honestly, he achieved them. By the time we'd been married 5 years, Marcus had built his own commercial real estate company from the ground up. We had the beautiful Craftsman House in the Pearl District. We took vacations to Hawaii in Europe. We talked about starting a family. I thought I knew this man. I thought I knew everything about him. I was teaching American literature at Lincoln High School and I loved my job, loved my students, loved coming home every day to what I thought was a happy marriage. Marcus would tell me about his deals, his clients, his projects. I'd tell him about my students' essays and the school drama. We had date nights every Friday. We had inside jokes. We had a life together. Or at least I thought we did. About a year ago, Marcus hired a new assistant, Kelly Morrison. She was 26, blonde, gorgeous, and according to Marcus, incredibly efficient. He talked about her constantly. Kelly organized the Jenkins file perfectly. Kelly saved us thousands on the waterfront project. Kelly is working late with me tonight on the proposal. At first, I didn't think anything of it. I trusted my husband. I trusted that our 8 years of marriage meant something. How naive I was. Kelly started showing up everywhere. Company dinners where spouses were invited. Kelly was there. Marcus's birthday party that I threw for him. Kelly stayed until midnight helping clean up. When I'd bring Marcus lunch at his office, Kelly would be in there with him, sitting close, laughing at his jokes. My friends started making comments. My sister asked me point blank if I was worried about her. And you know what I said? I said, Marcus loves me. He would never cheat. I trust him completely. God, I was such a fool. Things started changing around 6 months ago. Marcus became distant. He was always on his phone, always texting, always taking calls in the other room. Our Friday date nights got canceled more and more often. He stopped touching me the way he used to, stopped looking at me the way he used to. When I tried to talk to him about it, he'd say he was stressed about work, that a big deal was coming together, that once it closed, everything would go back to normal. I wanted to believe him so badly. I wanted to believe that our marriage wasn't falling apart, that the man I loved wasn't slipping away from me. So, I pushed down my suspicions. I ignored the sick feeling in my stomach when he'd smile at his phone screen. I pretended not to notice when he started going to the gym more and buying new clothes. I told myself I was being paranoid, that I was being insecure, that everything was fine. But deep down, I knew some part of me knew that my marriage was a lie. I just didn't want to face it. Then came the night that changed everything. October 15th. I'll never forget that date. I was driving home from a parent-teacher conference that ran late. It was raining. Typical Portland, October weather. I was on Highway 26 heading west toward home. The road was slick. Visibility was poor, but I'd driven that route 1,000 times. I knew it like the back of my hand. I was going about 55 miles per hour, staying in the right lane, being careful. And then I needed to slow down for traffic ahead of me. I pressed the brake pedal. Nothing happened. I pressed harder. Still nothing. My brakes were completely gone. The panic that shot through me in that moment, I can't even describe it. I pumped the brakes frantically. Nothing. I tried to downshift, but I was going too fast. There was a semi-truck in front of me, brake lights glowing red through the rain. I was going to hit it. I yanked the steering wheel to the right, trying to get to the shoulder, but I overcorrected on the wet road. My car spun out. I remember the sickening feeling of losing control, the world spinning around me, the sound of my own screaming, and then the impact. My car slammed into the concrete barrier at 55 miles per hour, the airbags deployed, but it wasn't enough. The driver's side of my car crumpled like paper. After that, everything went black. The next thing I remember is waking up. But waking up isn't the right term. I became aware. That's more accurate. I became aware that I existed, that I was somewhere, that something had happened to me. But I couldn't move, couldn't speak, couldn't even open my eyes at first. I could hear machines beeping, could hear voices around me, could feel something in my throat making it hard to breathe. But I couldn't do anything about it. Terror doesn't even begin to describe what I felt. Imagine being conscious but trapped inside your own body. Unable to scream, unable to call for help, unable to even let anyone know you're aware. It's a special kind of hell that I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. Well, maybe on my worst enemy. Maybe on Marcus and Kelly. I found out later that I'd been in a coma for 3 days after the accident. Multiple broken ribs, collapsed lung, severe head trauma, fractured pelvis, internal bleeding. The doctors had to do emergency surgery just to keep me alive. When I finally regained consciousness, I had what's called locked-in syndrome. A rare neurological condition where you're fully conscious and aware, but almost completely paralyzed. You can't move, can't speak, can't even blink sometimes, but your mind is completely intact. You can hear everything, understand everything, feel everything. The doctors didn't know I was conscious. They thought I was in a vegetative state. They talked about me like I wasn't there. Discussed my prognosis in clinical terms while standing right next to my bed. Minimal brain activity, unlikely to regain consciousness. If she does wake up, severe brain damage is probable. Quality of life would be severely compromised. And Marcus played the devastated husband perfectly. He was at my bedside constantly those first few days, or so the nurses told me later, holding my hand, talking to me, crying, telling me how much he loved me, how he couldn't lose me, how I had to fight to come back to him. What a performance! He should have won an Oscar. It was on the 4th day that I first heard her voice, Kelly, in my hospital room with my husband. "How is she?" Kelly asked, her voice soft, concerned, playing the worried employee. "I suppose." "No change," Marcus said, and I could hear the strain in his voice. But not the strain of grief, the strain of impatience. "I'm so sorry, Marcus," Kelly said. "This must be so hard for you." There was a pause and then I felt it. The pressure on my bed shifting, someone sitting down next to me, and then Marcus's voice closer now, closer to her. "I know this sounds terrible," he said quietly, "but part of me wonders if it would be better if she just didn't wake up. My heart would have stopped if it wasn't already hooked up to machines." Did I hear that right? Did my husband just say he wished I wouldn't wake up? "Don't say that," Kelly whispered. But there was something in her voice, something that wasn't quite convincing. "I mean, look at her," Marcus continued. "Even if she does wake up, the doctor said she'd have severe brain damage. She wouldn't be Sarah anymore. She'd need round-the-clock care. It would be cruel to keep her alive like that." I wanted to scream. I wanted to thrash in the bed. I wanted to grab him by the throat and make him look at me and see that I was still here, still me, still alive and aware. But I couldn't move a single muscle. I was trapped listening to my husband discuss why it would be better if I died. "When do you think?" Kelly started, then stopped. "When do I think what?" Marcus asked. Another pause. Then Kelly's voice even quieter. "When do you think they'll let you make the decision about life support?" Oh God. Oh God. They were talking about pulling my plug, about killing me. My own husband and his mistress were standing over my bed discussing ending my life. The doctor said if there's no improvement in 2 weeks, they'll talk to me about options. Marcus said they'll probably recommend moving her to a long-term care facility, but I have medical power of attorney. I can make the decision to let her go peacefully. "That must be such a burden for you," Kelly said. And I could hear her moving closer to him. "Having to make that kind of decision." "It is," Marcus said. But I think Sarah would want me to let her go if there was no hope. She wouldn't want to live like this. She'd want me to move on, to be happy again. Tears were running down my face. I couldn't feel them, couldn't wipe them away. But later, a nurse told me my pillow was soaked. My body was crying even though I couldn't control it. Couldn't express the anguish and betrayal that was ripping through my chest. You deserve to be happy, Kelly whispered. You've been through so much. And then I heard it. The sound that confirmed everything. The sound of them kissing right there in my hospital room while I lay paralyzed in the bed not 5 feet away from them. They were kissing and I could hear the soft sounds of it, and I wanted to vomit. I wanted to die. I wanted to do anything but lie there and listen to my husband kissing another woman while discussing my death. They stayed for another 10 minutes talking in low voices about mundane things, about his meetings the next day, about a client dinner, about how he should probably go home and get some rest. They kissed again before leaving, and then I was alone with the machines and the horror of what I'd just learned. That night was the longest of my life. I lay there in the dark, unable to sleep, unable to escape my own thoughts. 8 years of marriage. 8 years of my life given to a man who was now planning my funeral while having an affair. How long had it been going on? How long had he been lying to me? Did he ever love me at all? Or was I always just a convenience, a placeholder until something better came along? And the accident, the brakes failing. Was it really just an accident, or was it something more? The thought kept creeping into my mind, even though I tried to push it away. Marcus was a successful businessman, not a murderer, right? But then again, I thought he was a faithful husband. And look how wrong I was about that. Over the next few days, Marcus and Kelly came to visit regularly, always together, always playing their parts when nurses were around. Kelly the concerned assistant, Marcus the devoted husband. But when they thought they were alone, when they thought I couldn't hear them, they let their masks slip. I learned so much about their affair in those visits. They'd been sleeping together for 8 months. It started at a conference in Seattle. Kelly had been drunk. Marcus had been stressed about a failing deal, and one thing led to another. After that, they couldn't stop. Secret meetings during lunch breaks, weekends away when Marcus told me he was at business conferences, late nights at the office that were actually late nights at Kelly's apartment. I can't wait until we can be together publicly, Kelly said one afternoon. I'm so tired of sneaking around soon, Marcus promised her. Just a little longer once everything is settled. Settled. That's what he called my death. Getting things settled. They talked about their plans, about how Marcus would sell our house, the house I'd loved, the house where we'd planned to raise children and buy a condo downtown, about how they'd travel to Bali for a month, somewhere we'd always talked about going together, about how Kelly would finally get to wear all my jewelry, the pieces Marcus had given me over the years for birthdays and anniversaries. Did you bring the necklace? Kelly asked one day, her voice eager. Yeah, it's in my jacket, Marcus said. I heard rustling. Try it on. Oh, Marcus, it's beautiful. Kelly breathed. The diamonds are even bigger than they looked in the photos you showed me. That necklace, the diamond pendant he'd given me for our 5th anniversary. He'd told me he'd saved for months to buy it, had it customade, told me it was a symbol of his eternal love for me, and now he was giving it to his mistress while I lay paralyzed in a hospital bed. The rage I felt in that moment was unlike anything I'd ever experienced. It burned through me like acid. I wanted to kill him. I wanted to watch him suffer the way he was making me suffer. But all I could do was lie there and take it. Absorb every cruel word, every casual dismissal of our life together, every excited plan they made for their future. My future built on my grave. It was on the 8th day after I woke up that things got worse. So much worse. Marcus and Kelly came in later than usual that evening. The nurse had just left after checking my vitals. I heard the door close and their footsteps approaching my bed. How was the meeting with the lawyer? Kelly asked. Good, Marcus said. Really good, actually. I wanted to review everything with you. Of course, baby, Kelly said. I heard her settle into the chair next to my bed. Tell me everything. So, the life insurance policy is $2 million, Marcus began. His voice businesslike, as if he were discussing a real estate deal instead of my death. It pays out for accidental death, which this was. No issues there. $2 million. I didn't even know he'd taken out that large a policy on me. When had he done that? The house is worth about 1.2 million in the current market, Marcus continued. It's in both our names, but with her dead, it all comes to me. No mortgage, so that's pure equity. Her retirement account has about 300,000 inches. Her life insurance through the school district is another 500,000. All told, we're looking at about $4 million. He said as if Kelly had any right to my money, to the life insurance policy that was supposed to protect our family, to the house I'd spent years turning into a home, to my retirement savings that I'd accumulated through 15 years of teaching. Oh my God, Kelly whispered. Marcus, that's incredible. I know, Marcus said, and I could hear the smile in his voice, the satisfaction. We'll be set for life. We can buy that condo in the Pearl District you loved. Travel wherever we want. You can quit working if you want to. We'll have everything we've ever dreamed of. When do you think the insurance will pay out? Kelly asked. The lawyer said once she's declared dead or I make the decision to withdraw life support, it should be about 30 days for processing. Marcus explained, the house will take a bit longer to sell, but I can put it on the market immediately. Maybe stage it as a sad widower who needs a fresh start. That'll help it sell faster. They both laughed at that. Actually laughed at the idea of Marcus playing the grieving widower to sell our home faster. The home where we'd had Christmas mornings and dinner parties with friends. The home where I'd planted a garden every spring. The home where I'd dreamed of bringing our babies home from the hospital someday. I've already been looking at condos. Kelly said, there's this amazing penthouse with floor-to-ceiling windows and a rooftop terrace, 2 bedrooms, 3 baths. It's 2.5 million, but with the insurance money, we can afford it easily. Marcus finished. Send me the listing. We'll go look at it next week. Next week. While I was still alive, still lying here listening to them. They were planning their life together while I was still breathing. What about the funeral? Kelly asked. Have you thought about that? The lawyer helped me start planning it. Actually, Marcus said, I'm thinking something small, intimate. Just close family and friends. We'll do it at that nice funeral home in Lake Otsego, the one with the gardens. Will you do a burial or cremation? Kelly asked. Cremation, Marcus said immediately. Burial plots are expensive, and honestly, I don't want a place I have to visit and pretend to grieve at. Plus, her family can't make a big shrine out of a cremation urn. My family. Oh God. My family. My parents who loved Marcus like a son. My sister who'd been his friend before she was even mine. What would this do to them? How would they survive losing me and learning the truth about Marcus at the same time? That makes sense. Kelly agreed. What about her things, her clothes and jewelry and stuff? I'll donate most of the clothes. Marcus said, keep the jewelry for you, the furniture we can sell with the house or keep what we want for the new place. The rest I'll just get rid of. I want a fresh start. No reminders. No reminders. That's all I was to him now. A reminder to be disposed of. Not his wife. Not the woman he'd vowed to love and cherish. Just an inconvenient reminder of a life he wanted to erase. I love you so much, Kelly said softly. I know this is hard, but we're going to be so happy together. I love you too, Marcus replied. And honestly, part of me is relieved. I was going to have to divorce her eventually, and this way is so much cleaner. No splitting assets, no alimony, no drama. The accident was almost convenient. Convenient. He called my accident convenient. The accident that left me paralyzed and trapped in my own body. The accident that shattered my pelvis and broke my ribs and collapsed my lung. Convenient. And then Kelly said the words that changed everything. The words that confirmed my darkest suspicions. The words that turned this from a tragedy into a crime. Did you cut her bra lines like you planned? Kelly asked, her voice curious. Or was the accident really just luck? The room went silent. The only sounds were the beeping of my monitors and my own ragged breathing through the ventilator. My mind was screaming. Screaming so loud I thought surely someone could hear it. He tried to kill me. Marcus tried to kill me. This wasn't an accident. He cut my brake lines. He sent me out on that rainy highway knowing my brakes would fail. He tried to murder me for insurance money and a girl half his age. Kelly, Marcus said, his voice warning. What? Kelly said, there's no one here. She can't hear us. You said yourself she's practically brain dead. I know, but still, Marcus said, we shouldn't talk about that. Oh, come on, Kelly said, and I could hear her move closer to him. You can tell me. I've been dying to know. Did you actually do it? Another pause, a long one, and then Marcus's voice, quiet and cold. Yeah, he said, I did it. 2 days before the accident, I went out to her car in the middle of the night and cut the brake lines most of the way through. Weakened them enough that they'd fail under pressure, but not so much that she'd notice anything wrong right away. I knew she'd be driving home from that parent-teacher conference. Knew she'd be on the highway. It was supposed to look like an accident caused by the rain and bad road conditions. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. He really did. Thanks for watching and subscribe.